Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So today we are starting off this video barefaced because I'm going to be doing a first impressions on two different products. The first product that I'm going to be doing a first impressions and wear test on is the Maybelline Superstay Full Coverage Foundation. I know this foundation isn't necessarily new, but they did release a newer formula in December, but I was walking through Target and I've heard so many good things about this foundation, so I figured I would just pick it up and test it with you guys on camera and see how it wears throughout the day. And the second product that I'm going to be doing a review and first impressions on is the new Anastasia Beverly Hills Highlighter with Amrezy. I'm super excited to try this out. It looks so beautiful. I already opened it and I looked inside and the packaging is stunning. And when I opened this highlighter, like my jaw literally dropped. That's how pretty it is. So I'm really excited to test this out and see if the hype lives up to the product. So obviously, like I always say before we get into this video, if you guys like me and do like my channel, then please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel because I would really love to have you guys here. Without further ado, if you guys want to see this 2-in-1 first impressions video, then please keep watching. I was thinking about doing half of my face with a beauty blender and the other half with a brush, but I really don't ever use a brush for my foundation, so I'm just gonna keep it with the way that I usually do it, and I'm just going to use my black beauty blender. So what I am going to do is I'm going to apply primer to only half of my face. That way we can see if the foundation will last long on its own or if it lasts longer with a primer. The primer that I'm going to be using today is the Too Faced Hangover Primer. I love this primer. I say this in every video, but it's my favorite primer ever and I use it with literally every single foundation. So I ended up getting this foundation in two different shades. One of them is way too light and one of them is way too dark, but that's okay because we're going to mix them together. They really didn't have much selection at Target because this foundation is so popular, so like literally every single shade was sold out. But I did get one in the shade 110 Porcelain, and the other foundation that I got is in the shade 128 Warm Nude. So this will definitely match me once I start tanning again over the summertime, so I was okay with getting this one, but I just figured I would have a lighter one too. That way I can mix them together and I will get my perfect shade. Obviously this foundation claims to last for 24 hours. I'm not going to be testing it for 24 hours because that's insane and that's a little bit much for me, but I am going to be trying it out for around 6 hours. It is around 4 p.m. right now, so maybe around 10:30, 11 o'clock. I will catch up with you guys and then I will let you know how the foundation is holding up. This foundation also claims to be full coverage, up to 24-hour wear, seamless matte finish, breathable and comfortable, fade and transfer resistant, oil-free, doesn't clog pores, and dermatologist tested. So we are going to test all of those things today. I'm just going to go ahead and shake both of these up. Oh, one thing before we start, I do want to mention that I definitely appreciate the fact that this foundation has a pump on it because I know the Maybelline Fit Me doesn't have a pump and that's always a little bit irritating. So I am very happy that this foundation has a pump. I also think that the packaging of this foundation is super sleek and nice. Also, this foundation was only $9.99 at Target. I believe it's $11.99 at Ulta, but $10 for a foundation from the drugstore is pretty reasonable and pretty cheap in my opinion. The cheapest foundation that I have from the drugstore that is one of my personal favorites is the e.l.f. Flawless Finish Foundation. But the only thing that's kind of iffy on that foundation is that there isn't really that big of a shade range. So I'm first just gonna go ahead and apply primer to the right side of my face and leave the left side bare. And I also put on moisturizer before this video so my skin is moisturized underneath. Keep in mind that this is also a hydrating primer, so it may make the foundation be a little bit less matte underneath. I'm actually gonna go grab a hairband, that way I can get my hair out of my face. Okay, so now that I have my hair out of my face, I'm going to take both of the foundations and I'm just going to kind of mix them on the back of my hand to try and make my perfect shade. I'm just mixing it together with the back of a brush. So now that we've mixed our little potion together, I'm going to go ahead and take my dampened black beauty blender and I'm going to start applying this all over my face. It almost looks like it's oxidizing. If you guys see when it dries down a little bit, it kind of looks a little bit darker than when I put it on. So I'm gonna add a little bit more of the light shade, but I really didn't even use that much product and it looks like it covered a lot of my redness, which is really good. I definitely would say it's a full coverage foundation, and if you needed any more coverage, it definitely is buildable. It doesn't dry down too fast, which I like because sometimes matte foundations can dry down super quickly and then it's really hard to get them to blend out. But I'm also applying it by like dipping my beauty blender in. I probably wouldn't recommend with any matte foundation donning it all over your face and then putting it on, because I feel like it'll dry down and it'll be kind of hard to blend. So I recommend with any matte foundation just kind of dipping your beauty blender into it and then applying it straight onto your skin. I think it's pretty much applying the same on both sides, even though I have a primer on one side. I do feel like you can still kind of see a little bit of my redness peeking through, so I'm just going to go in with a kind of second layer just on the areas where I have some redness. So even though I tried to match it, it still is a little bit dark for me, so I'm just going to kind of bring it down to my neck a little bit. Okay, so now that I have a second layer on, it definitely is pretty full coverage. I really do like the finish of it. I feel like it's not really that matte. It's more of like a natural finish, which I really like. And it doesn't feel drying, and it also doesn't feel too heavy. So far so good. I really do like it. I think it looks pretty good. Obviously, I can never get my right shade, but I feel like it maybe did oxidize a little bit, but it is kind of hard to tell since I was mixing two foundations together. But I do like it overall so far. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and do the rest of my face really quickly with you guys on camera, but I'm not really gonna go into too much detail. But I do wanna continue on and use a Maybelline concealer as well. So I am gonna be using the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Concealer, and this one is in the shade Light. After I apply my concealer, I'm gonna go ahead and set it with the Laura Mercier translucent powder. Once I've set everywhere that I put the concealer with the translucent powder, I'm gonna go in with the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish Powder and a big fluffy brush. This one is the Morphe MB2, and I'm just gonna go ahead and set the rest of my face. I'm gonna go in with my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer and my Morphe M523 contouring brush, and I'm going to contour underneath my cheekbones, the top of my forehead, and underneath my jawline. I'm gonna go ahead and take a smaller brush. This one is the Morphe E55 eye shading brush, and I'm gonna use this to contour my nose, underneath my lip, and in the center of my Cupid's bow. Once my contour is done, I'm going to bake on the sides of my nose to kind of clean up my nose contour and underneath my cheek contour. So once I let the bake sit for a while, I'm going to go ahead and wipe it away. And I'm going to apply some blush as well. This one is the Dallas Box Blush with my Morphe MB4. Now that I've done the majority of my face, I'm going to go ahead and go off camera and finish off the rest of it, like my eyes and my lips, etc. Once I'm done with all of that, we're going to come back and we are going to test out the Amrezy highlighter together. Okay, so I went ahead and finished off my eyes off camera. I skipped my lips because I'm going to eat like right after this. But when I come back for like a check-in on how the wear is doing, I'll probably have lipstick on after I eat. So I'm gonna go ahead and start by showing you guys the packaging of the highlighter. So this is what it comes in. It's just a little soft touch cardboard box. It feels so nice. I love when packaging is like soft touch like this. And then it just has foiled embossed writing on the front, which I think is so pretty, and the little stars down here. Of course, it just says highlighter, Anastasia, Beverly Hills, and Amrezy. And then on the sides as well, it has the little Anastasia logo. So I'm gonna go ahead and take it out of the packaging and show you guys the actual highlighter. It's literally so pretty. Like, I have no words for it. If I was to have a highlighter, then I would probably want my packaging to look like this. It's so pretty and so sleek and perfect. And then when you open it up, this is what it looks like. Tell me you don't die. Honestly, the amount of detail that went into this is just like insane. Like the fact that it ripples like this, it just looks like either a bar of gold or like a sand dune or something. It's just so pretty. When I opened this, I told you guys earlier, my mouth like literally dropped and I gasped because I don't think I've ever seen a highlighter packaging this pretty. It's just stunning. And something right off the bat that I like is obviously the mirror, and also when you look at the highlighter, I feel like this is probably the most realistic highlighter shade that I've ever seen. Usually a gold highlighter, I feel like it looks overly gold and kind of not tacky, but definitely more of like a artificial gold. This gold honestly is just so perfect to me. To me, it just looks like instead of looking like a gold streak across my face, it's actually going to look like a wet, natural glow. So I'm gonna go ahead and swatch this with my finger first. I'm kind of dreading this because I don't even want to touch it. It's so pretty. But I'm gonna go ahead and swatch it with my finger and show it to you guys, and then I will swatch it on my arm and show you guys the swatch there. I heard that it's supposed to feel like kind of wet, but it doesn't really feel wet to me. It still feels like a powder. I was expecting it to feel like kind of like a putty. It just looks so wet and beautiful. I think it's like perfect, like it's like the perfect shade. And I'm gonna go ahead and swatch it right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to apply this with my Anastasia A23 brush. On my right side, I'm going to spray it and then go in and apply the highlighter. That way we can see when the skin is a little bit damp, how the highlighter applies. That's usually what I do with all of my highlighters, so I'm gonna do that on this side, which is also the side that we used the Hangover Primer. And then on my left side, I'm just gonna go ahead and apply it straight from the pan onto my dry brush and onto my skin without spraying my skin first. That way we can see what it looks like on its own. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take my brush. I'm going to dip it into the highlighter and I'm going to tap it off and apply it dry to my left side. So that's the first application. I really didn't have a lot on my brush at all. Like I barely dipped, to be honest. And I feel like it's really pretty. So far, I don't feel like it's picking up a lot of texture on my skin, which is definitely something really important for me in a highlighter. I don't like when it brings out a lot of my texture. I just kind of want it to smoothly lay on the skin. Honestly, I could leave it right there. I think that's really pretty. But of course, I'm gonna go in and add another layer just to show you guys. Honestly, I think this is my new favorite highlighter. That's 2 applications of it and it is so beautiful. It just looks so wet on the skin. Like the way it reflects is so pretty. I love this. I literally just want to drench all of my skin in it. So I'm going to take a little bit to the top of my temples. As you can see, you definitely don't need to spray your skin. You don't need to spray the brush because it's going to come out blinding regardless. If you wanted to make it more intense, I'm definitely sure you could. That's pretty much where I'm going to leave it on this side. So now I'm just going to take my Mario Badescu spray and I'm going to go ahead and spray this side of my face and then I'm going to apply the highlighter. I'm going to go ahead and spray the brush straight on too. That way we can see what it looks like when the brush is damp. Honestly, it is literally one of the prettiest highlighters I've ever seen. Oh, it honestly lived up to all of my expectations. Like, I thought this highlighter was gonna be amazing and it looks amazing, so I have no complaints. I'm just gonna take the smaller brush. It's the Morphe M170-4 and I'm going to highlight my nose, my cupid's bow, and underneath my brow bone. So the highlighter is definitely a big yes from me. I love it. I think it looks so stunning. So far the foundation's holding up well too. It has been a few hours because I did kind of take my time while doing my eye makeup, so it's still holding up really nicely. It doesn't really seem to be creasing anywhere yet, so far so good, and not really any oils are peeking through, so it looks pretty good to me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and eat, and I'm going to catch up with you guys in a few hours and let you know how the foundation is holding up. So it's been a few hours since I last talked to you guys. It's around 10:30 right now, so it's getting pretty late, but I thought I would just go ahead and do a check-in really quick before I do my final one. But this is what it looks like right now. I'm just gonna zoom in a little bit so you guys can see. A little bit of my natural oils are starting to come through around my nose, but nothing really crazy. Honestly, it's usually worse than this. Like, usually I am like really oily around my nose, but it kind of just looks like glowy to me in my opinion, or like dewy. Like, it doesn't really look that oily, so I don't feel like it's really creasing that bad in my smile lines. But honestly, no matter what foundation it is, it usually creases in my smile lines at least a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and end this check-in right here, and then I will catch up with you guys in another hour or so. Okay, so it is now 12 in the morning. It is literally 12 a.m. but I figured the longer that I drag this out, the better for a wear test. So I'm just gonna go ahead and zoom you guys in a little bit so you can see what the foundation looks like. So this is what the foundation looks like up close. I'm gonna look at it in the mirror too while I show you guys. So obviously it did seep into my fine lines a little bit and kind of crease in my smile lines, but again, very normal. It is normally oily around my nose. I mean, I've never had a foundation that by the end of the day it's not oily around my nose, so very normal for me. However, usually when it's oily like this around my nose, it's really oily right here on my forehead, as well as my chin. And if anything, I think my forehead and my chin still just look dewy. They don't look oily to me. So it's really just around my nose right here, which is fine. Nothing a powder can't fix, or some blotting papers or blotting powder. I definitely do think that it was buildable, full coverage foundation. I definitely think that it's breathable and comfortable like it states as well. And if you guys do remember, I did put a primer on the right side of my face and not on the left side. I really don't feel like it made a difference. I think that both sides really ended up the same. So this foundation overall definitely is a win in my opinion. I'm definitely going to continue to use it. I think out of the experience I had of wearing it today, it might become one of my new favorite drugstore foundations, or favorite foundations in general. That's a pretty bold statement, but it is really flawless and I love the way that it applied and stayed throughout the day. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and if you did, again, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Also, before you guys go, if you guys want to be notified every single time I upload a video, then hit that bell icon down below and you guys will be notified. That way you guys can be in the loop of things and you guys can be the first ones here. It's pretty late, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and take off this makeup and head to bed. But thank you guys so much for watching this video again, and I hope to see you guys next time.